and welcome to DawgDial, to the 2017 edition of DawgDial. I'm your host, Josh J. Dawg Mendlinger, and I'm here with my partner, Joel Taco Thompson. We are here to talk with you folks about everything UGA football this season coming up, just starting 1 week from now or so. And we need to cover with you folks, both here and on Facebook Live. We are here to answer all and everything about football at the University of Georgia. Joel, what are we going to talk about here?
What we're going to do today on DawgDial is we're going to go through kind of different segments of the program. Since this is our first show of the season, we're going to go through what's new in 2017. We're going to review some of the players, some of the positions, some of the coaching changes, and some of the things to look for in 2017. We'll take and review game by game the schedule, maybe give you our predictions for the upcoming season. Then we may have a fan call-in segment, but then we'll wrap it up and give you our take on the positive, the question marks, and some insight into what's going to happen with UGA football. We think you're going to enjoy the show. We're broadcasting again live from Buffalo's in Woodstock.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to having a good show.
Absolutely.
To have you on this year.
Well, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited for an upcoming season with Georgia Bulldogs and a number 15 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. And make sure we point that out, right?
Doesn't matter where you start. It's where you finish.
That is. And we're going to come back from a break, go to a break and shortly come back, and we're going to start talking about all the new things to look forward to with the Georgia Bulldogs football in just a moment. So we'll be right back. Stay with us
on DawgDial.
All right, welcome back to DawgDial. We are here. We are here to talk everything University of Georgia football. I am J. Dawg Mendlinger, and this is Taco Thompson. We are here to go over, what we're going to talk about right now is what's new in 2017 for the University of Georgia Bulldogs. And there are a few things that are new, but some things are still fresh, I guess we could say. Not quite new, but still fresh smelling as far as the new car smell with our head coach and a couple of the key players, huh?
I think we'll have
some of that new car smell.
We'll have the new car smell probably until about mid-season.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to be when that's either going to wear out, or whether or not we're going to see a little bit of intensity. We know Coach Smart is an intense guy. That's why he was brought into the program, to try to raise the level. This is his second year. Obviously, I think he's admittedly so. Thinks that he could have done a few things better. We all do in every profession that we are in.
Absolutely.
But certainly I think after his first year, having taken on all the responsibilities of a head coach, which in the SEC and in general in college football, a head coaching job is significantly larger than a coordinator job. And I think he went through that phase, number one, and actually on the field, which is what we're most interested in as fans. I think he had to take an assessment of the players of the program that he had and try to mold that talent. He brought in a freshman quarterback that was recruited by Coach Richt. That was his first stopping point. But you also have to assess 50, 60, 70 players. And you come into a program that first year, we finished 8-5 in the first year.
That's true.
I think there's nowhere to go but to improve from there.
So, well, he did have a freshman quarterback, but not a bad problem to have, having Jacob Eason there as your quarterback as a freshman. I think his potential, the sky's the limit with him. With his numbers, look great as a first-year quarterback, all in all.
Well, one of the new things, and maybe it's his first too, but he got a haircut.
How about that? That is a good start, I guess. Maybe that'll bring around a new it's a new look and maybe a new attitude. I don't have a lot to cut up here, but
keep everything you got.
Well, I'm trying. Do everything I can in that department. But
back to Jason.
This is his second year, and he is now
ready to take the reins.
Taking the reins, maturity, to run the team. Obviously, you can imagine as a freshman, a little skittish coming out of the chute and being able to not only throw the ball but manage a team of men, basically. When you start getting down to the ages, here comes a true freshman coming in at 18, 19 years old, and he is having to run a team, be a leader of a team of guys that go as high, 21, 22 years old.
So you know what you call a sophomore, right?
What do we call a sophomore?
A sophomore is now a veteran.
A veteran.
So now he's a veteran. He's coming on board now. I don't want to pin everything on Jacob. I think last season, Eason was learning not only big-time football, but there were question marks on the offensive line.
Absolutely.
And there were some moving parts there. And I think all in all, the Georgia offense, while talented running game, always at Georgia seems to be a staple for Georgia, the offensive line and also the receiving corps. We have that same question coming in again this year. On the offensive side of the ball, you have to have all three of those things really hitting on all cylinders.
I'd agree.
With the great advantage that we have, both of our senior running backs gave up NFL money to come back to the University of Georgia. I think that says a lot. So that's maybe nothing new, but it is news, and to have two high-caliber running backs in the backfield, now what we need to do is surround them with a solid offensive line, balance that with a mid-range, balanced passing game, a consistent, accurate Eason with a deep threat. We got to find out who that is at the wide receiver level. We've got a stack of wide receivers on board.
Absolutely.
We need to find out who's going to be that emerging player on the Georgia offense. So that to me is the offensive keys to making sure that the Bulldogs put points on the board and stay ahead of the competition.
Well, we have those, like you said, probably the top tandem in the country in running backs are coming in, but not only as targets for him for running, they can catch the ball too. Sonny Michel has a great set of hands coming out of the backfield.
Absolutely. And you mentioned a key earlier. We didn't talk about that in the segment, but you mentioned the tight end.
The tight end, Isaac Nada. he was not going to be a bad guy. Huh? He's not a bad player.
He's probably heard that before.
I bet he has, but he's not a bad player. And Isaac is now also a sophomore. Great friends, as we understand, with Jacob, his quarterback. So I'm not sure if they're roommates or anything, but it's possible. It's quite possible. And the fact is, he's got a great set of hands, and he has the ability to check down not only from the deep threat receivers or to his running backs, but he knows that Nada is going to be in the right place at the right time. They just have that chemistry and that connection that's almost nonverbal. It's very similar to a pair of quarterback tight end pair in the NFL that many people keep seeing end up in the Super Bowl.
That'd be nice.
That would be nice, right?
Nice.
That Brady to Gronk connection is something that we might be able to compare these two at the end of the season. Let's get there first.
Let's hit on all cylinders, and let's talk about, in this segment here, what's new. Not a whole lot new on defense. You know, here on the defensive side of the ball, we returned 10 of 11 starters.
That's pretty good.
Now, the new thing is, I think, is the new dimension is that defense needs to rise up a level. So, fairly mid-range statistically in 2016. I think the one thing you got to do in a football game is you got to score more than the others, and you got to keep the others from scoring.
All right.
Well, those are the basics.
That is.
You can win one of two ways. So defense, you know, what I see as the keys on defense is to make sure that we have improvement from prior year. Let's get more pressures. Let's get some tackles for loss. Let's get some more INTs. Let's get some batted balls. Let's make some big plays on defense.
Absolutely.
And let's not keep it close with Nickel State. Let's pound App State.
That's
where our defense can improve and actually keep the offense out on the field. Defense, their job, 3 and out, get the stops, give the ball back to the offense, let them get the game plan, let it get it rolling.
Right, and I think our defensive coordinator, Mel Tucker, for the Georgia Bulldogs will have them inspired this year coming out, as well as Kirby Smart. He probably, like you said earlier, that it's a new position. Being a head coach, it's totally different. You're not necessarily there in front of every player on his defense every day. He had to release the reins to his coordinators and get them to buy in and to make sure that the defense is doing what Kirby Smart wants, but then it all has to translate from that defensive coordinator. He has to get the head coach's message across.
Well, both offense and defense, I mean, that's why you play both sides of the ball and the special teams. But no question, Coach Smart is a defensive-minded coach. That's what he was doing for the last decade at Alabama. That's where he learned his trade. But look for the defense. We talk a lot about offense. Look for the defense of Georgia maybe this year to make a mark.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a break here on the CLM Sports Network. We are going to take a short break here. We'll still be on Facebook Live. If you'd like to, you can chime in on Facebook Live by sending us a comment if you'd like to, and we'd be more than happy to check that out and come back to you. But when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the players, and then we'll get into some game review later on for the upcoming schedule for the 2017 season. So we'll be right back. Come back to DawgDial in just a moment. As we are still here on Facebook Live for a few moments.
You had us both
turned down there. Now we're back up, but we are on Facebook Live with DawgDial. Just want to welcome the folks watching us on Facebook Live. Say hi. I am Josh J. Dawg Mendlinger, and with me is my partner, Joel Taco Thompson. So Taco, we were going over what's new in 2017 just a few moments ago, and when we get back, to the show. We will be going into some of the players that are the leadership of this team.
While we're on Facebook Live, let's talk a little bit about the promotions and the great host location that we have here at Buffalo's.
Absolutely.
Buffalo's in Woodstock, Georgia. One note of mention at Buffalo's is every Monday and Wednesday night they have what's called Bash Night. So it's all-you-can-eat wings.
For $14.99. Come on by, yes.
$14.99. What a deal.
That is.
They can eat 30 wings. What does that equal?
That's not a lot per wing.
50 cents.
Yeah.
Thereabouts.
49.875. Well, it's not only the wings, it's the atmosphere here. We have great servers, you're great people here. It's a great location. It's a great family restaurant. This is not just a bar. This is actually a family atmosphere. So
Tuesday night, kids eat free.
Tuesday night, kids eat free. How about that? Can't get any better than that, right?
Announce the charity. I won't be remiss if I didn't announce September 9th is a charity poker night. And there's a $50 buy-in. There's going to be raffles, drawings, prizes. First place is a 55-inch screen TV.
Wow. Okay.
So,
are we eligible to enter that?
I think so.
I think so.
Unless are you in good standing with the Woodstock Public Safety?
I am.
That is the charitable cause.
That is the charitable foundation.
As long as you're in good steads, then come on out, folks. A lot of people are going to be here. It's going to be a good time. And Buffalo's is just such a great
great host, great everything going on here. Yeah. So I tell you what, let's get back at it. All right, welcome back to DawgDial. We are here. I am J-Dawg. This is Taco, and we are talking everything and all things UGA football. The season is just about upon us, and we are looking forward to a great season for your number 15 Bulldogs, number 15 ranked National Bulldogs, and some top, I guess you could say, the leaders to be in the SEC East.
Let's talk about players. Let's talk about leadership for a second.
Well, that's important.
Can we talk about that? Maybe we should start there. Sony Michel and Nick Chubb, their names get mentioned all the time. They're obviously star players. Chubb returning from the knee injury. They say he looks great in practice. I have not seen him, but they say he's making cuts. He's confident. He and Sony Michel, both seniors, and I don't know about you, but how many millions would you turn down to come back and play your senior year for the Alabama?
How many wings?
How many wings?
That was a lot of wings they were passing up. A lot of Buffalo.
A lot of guaranteed wings.
You're right. That is an amazing thing in today's day and age of college sports and pro sports. That's an absolutely great sign of character that these guys decided to come back and be part of their team, be part of the Georgia Bulldog Nation, part of the family that and stuck around for the family that they are. And I think that's a great sign for this season coming up. I think that the Bulldogs have a lot to look forward to, and I think that will inspire that offensive line we talked about earlier that needed to do some work, that they had some faith in coming back, that this offensive line was going to be top-notch this year. They would have, could have, would have, and who knows, hopefully not should have, bolted for the NFL and the draft, but they said, hey, no way, I'm coming back, we're coming back, and we have faith and believe that the offensive line is going to take care of us, and therefore we're going to be able to take care of business for that ultimate goal of championships, both with the SEC and down the line.
And I've got, rolling over to the offensive line, I've got a projected two-deep chart here for the offensive line. Left tackle, Isaiah Wynn. Left guard, Dyson Sims. Offensive center, Lamont Galliard. Right guard, Solomon Kinley. Right tackle, Alden Bynum. And tight end, obviously, as you mentioned early, Isaac Nauta. I think in there, the offensive lineman as a whole, because you kind of got to talk offensive lineman as a whole. You got scheme blocking, you have man blocking, you have zone blocking. There are a lot of things that are complicated for me, and I played the game a little bit, but obviously for the fan. But on the whole, these guys have got to feel some pressure. But, you know, there's some senior leadership in here. There's some red shirts. There's a mix. You got to feel like these guys are going to come out of the blocks ready to play.
I think they showed some great development in the spring season this year, and I think that the Dawg fans have a lot to look forward to. One thing, the question is, last year, what was the problem? Do you think with the offensive line? Was it they weren't hitting it or hitting the blocks properly, or do you think it might be the fact that they were coming out of a gun? That's kind of the scheme that they're running, the shotgun-ish with the pistol formation that Kirby Smart has Jacob Eason working under, and their offensive coordinator, Jim Chaney. Is that problematic to be in the pistol, do you think, for them? Or do you think we should look for...
We need a race board to go through, and about 16 hours to go through.
Really? How do I do that out?
It goes.
You got a coach board?
We do. I mean,
electronic coach board? That'd be a great place. Good thing to have right back here.
I think there was a lot going on last year. A new quarterback always brings in a new dynamic. You bring in a new quarterback and a new coach. It all starts there. I think we all recognize how important both of those two positions are. So a learning curve. And a lot of people will say, well, look back at the Georgia quarterbacks that started earlier in their career. We are very good at bringing in quarterbacks and developing top talent quarterbacks. So he'll have his year, and this is the year, though, for Jacob Eason. The other player that you'll hear on the depth chart right behind him at the quarterback spot is obviously, Jake Fromm is getting the mention and the nod. We don't know this for a fact, but we assume that he is coming in. He came into spring camp, came into school early, and most people have a take, including Fran Tarkenton.
Yeah.
Thinks that, which I didn't mean that I think Fran is right about what he said, but at least let's just say he said it. But, maybe some pressure on Eason to deliver early.
You're right, and he's a competitor. So will this raise his game? And you think he'll crack under the pressure? I guess that's what we need to wait and see. However, if we look back to his freshman campaign, Jacob Eason had 12 starts. He played in all 13 games of the season. He had 16 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's got to get that down. Definitely have to limit and decrease the interceptions that he has. But he threw for 2,430 yards and a 55% completion ratio rate.
Those two numbers have to go up. Those two numbers have to go up. Well, to take pressure off of your running game, a lot of opponents knew and saw Eason struggling. They brought defensive players up close to the line of scrimmage. Hey, they know you're going to run. They know your game. You got to keep them off balance.
Yeah.
So he's got to improve his accuracy, number one. And he's got to put the ball on the money. He's got to be able to throw it deep.
Absolutely.
He's got to be able to spread them out, loosen them up. He's got to be able to throw it out of the backfield to the tight end. And he's got to have time to do that. So let's see all that happen. And if that happens for Eason, I think we won't be having this Eason-Fromm conversation.
Yeah.
We can just play it out with Mr. Eason. And let's hope that after these first 4 or 5 contests, this discussion is over and we talk about Georgia football.
Absolutely. Well, he has all the talent in the world, Jacob Eason, and the numbers he put up last year comparable to a former Georgia Bulldog that did pretty well for himself in Matthew Stafford. I think he did pretty well going number 1 in the draft and then after the Detroit Lions, and he's done pretty well in the NFL for himself. So if he can continue to grow with those numbers, if he can continue to develop, I think the quarterback competition that we're alluding to will motivate him and make him better. I think just the competition will make him work that much harder and actually help him along. And we'll see. Maybe they can work it as a 1-2 punch, but we'll see what happens at number 10.
Let's go. I think we'll score some points one way or another. Yeah. I think we're going to score some points this season. The schedule is relatively favorable. Let's do this. Let's put it on the defense. Let's keep the opponent off the board.
Yes.
We gave up 24 points a game last season. Let's try to get that down.
Okay.
Let's see if our key players like Lorenzo Carter and our defensive backfield led by Dominic Sanders and our lockdown corners. Let's hope our defensive front, our linebacking core, our defensive backs, can also come out of the box, shut down a run game, shut down a passing game. We'll see if that happens.
We'll see what happens. I'll tell you that. Well, we'll take a short break here on the DawgDial, and we'll come back and we'll talk about those games that are coming up. We'll talk about the 2017 season for the University of Georgia Bulldogs, and that's coming up quick with App State. So we're going to take a break. We'll be here on Facebook Live. You got Buffaloes in Woodstock, Georgia. Come out to Buffaloes, enjoy some of their wings, but we'll take a break and we'll be right back. All right, we're here on Facebook Live with DawgDial. Thank you for those out there in Facebook land paying attention to our dog talk, if you can say that. We are here in Buffaloes in Woodstock, Georgia, and we are going to be enjoying some wings coming up soon here. I believe we have some wings coming out. Some great. We started the day here just before we went on air with a few of their fresh house-made potato skins.
What was your favorite wing?
My favorite flavor wing?
From Buffalo Wings.
My favorite is the lemon garlic, like a lemon garlic. I believe in here. There's many. I think, how many total do we have? I think there are about 20 different flavors, something like that.
I thought one of your favorite might be the coconut jerk.
Thank you. No. No.
Scorching. That's how.
There we go.
That's the Georgia offense. That's what the Georgia Bulldogs are.
That's what it's going to be today. Yes.
For the menu.
For this year. But no, it is not. It is not the coconut jerk flavor wing.
Wings a lot more, though.
But you know what? You got to have a acquired taste for coconut. I can't say that to quote a famous TV show from years back, there isn't anything wrong with that, liking the coconut jerk flavored wing.
It's on the menu.
It's on the menu here at Buffalo. So come on down and try it. If you like coconut, come on down and try it. Coconut is just not my thing.
A lot of other great stuff though on the menu. You see the menu from Buffalo's: wraps, sandwiches, burgers, flatbreads. I had a melt the other day that was melt in your mouth. So
yes, great burgers too.
Buffalo's is fantastic place.
Absolutely. So come on down. We got a great bunch of people here, great servers, and they were going to bring you the food that you want here at Buffalo's. Quite a great family atmosphere, and come join us here. We're here, and you can come and see us do our Facebook Live show.
Big time
Sundays,
supporters.
Sunday afternoons, yes. Lots of Bulldogs fans. Come on down and see all of us here, and enjoy. Start off when you walk in with the peanuts all the way to this. So I tell you what, we're going to get going and talk about our schedule review for the season coming up, and let's get ourselves back as recording here. And all right, we're going to come over, just going to get ourselves back to break. So us on Facebook Live. And welcome back to DawgDial here on the CRM Sports Network. We are Buffaloes in Woodstock, Georgia. Proud sponsor and host here.
Location?
Absolutely. And we are going to talk the University of Georgia football schedule that is up for the 2017 season. The outlook is great for the Bulldogs. The promising number 15 starting ranking for the country. Now,
not where you start.
It's not where you start.
It's where you
end up. Absolutely.
Finish.
It's where you
finish my statement. That's where you finish up. But
there you go.
It's good for us fans. It's good for college football. We can talk about it. That's what we do here on Sport Talk Radio. And you all want to hear about it. So we're going to go through and take a look. We've got our calendars for this upcoming season and just go through it. And let's talk about the home opener here next weekend against Appalachian State. What you think, Josh?
Well, I think Georgia has a great chance against Appalachian State. What do you think? Actually, I think it's.
I think the odds are good. But remember last year, the opener with Nicholls State?
Yes.
A 28-26-2, a little bit of a squeaker. My question, and I agree with you.
Next week, but because we opened with North Carolina last year.
Right. But Nicholls State was not supposed to be
out of conference.
But I'm with you. I don't think we're looking ahead of anybody, and I don't believe we're going to be looking ahead of App State. I think this is a statement game.
Absolutely.
And I think the Bulldogs in Athens with the home opener are just going to put it to the mountain. You can't overlook App State.
You shouldn't. Just ask Michigan.
And ask a lot of folks and teams in the new 1A. I mean, they play FBS football now. So their recruiting, their money, their facilities.
They're very good quarterbacks too, right here.
It's an evolution, and it's been a great program. Obviously, this is a money game for them to come into Athens, and they'll be coming with the thought process of we're not coming for the paycheck.
Oh, they're coming to win.
What would be better or greater for App State than to walk out of Athens with a win?
No doubt in my mind that. But I think we could chalk that up for a W.
Don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
just saying. After, let's hope everybody's comfortable and sitting comfortably after maybe the first quarter.
I hope so too, and I hope, obviously we want to get in there, we want to get the players, get them fresh, get those first licks against a non-University of Georgia player, and that's a big thing, just to get that out. That first time you go out and you hit someone else that's not your teammate or friend, and that's what football's all about.
That's fun.
That is what it's all about, and I think Georgia will make a statement against Appalachian State, and I think that they're going to come out, they're going to be fired up, and obviously we want everyone to come out of there in one piece. We need to be ready and healthy, so I don't think we will hopefully we'll be at that state with that game where come second half we don't have to necessarily depend upon every one of our key people. We can bring in a few extra guys, a few backups, second, third string maybe, and get them some reps and get a little bit of rest for our starters to get ready for week 2, because week 2 is not going to be an easy one. It's going to
travel to, where are we going? Let me tell you.
I think it's been highly touted. I think you can remember this one. We're going to go up to
South
Bend and go mess with the Irish.
And I think it'll be a good trip. I'm excited about the game. It's one of the hottest tickets in all of college football right now. I talked to a friend and said, bought 4 tickets. This was 2 weeks ago.
Tickets were still available.
For a pretty, he's a connected kind of guy.
Okay.
But he was still having to pay a non-connected, very good price for his tickets. Nonetheless,
kind of like getting a ticket at Sanford Stadium for a home game.
It's exactly, and it's just going to be a great game, and that's going to be I don't know where Notre Dame is rated. Obviously, Notre Dame is trying to bring back their program back to prominence, but guaranteed, to have a team like Georgia in Notre Dame, it's SEC. You come into their territory, they're going to be putting up a fight. So we'll see. In my book, I've got Georgia beating Notre Dame solidly in South Bend. I've got us getting on track this game, ready to come home and take on our next opponent.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame is looking to come out and face Kirby Smart and to show them something that the Georgia Bulldogs are not going to put up with it. I agree with you. I think that Kirby Smart's going to come in there and be prepared and ready to go to make that statement, to take that number 15 ranking that they're starting the season and start working their way up towards the top of the ranking for college football this year. So I would agree.
I'd like to get the T-shirt. There's got to be some good T-shirts that'll come out of that game.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to a T-shirt. I'm going to get the T-shirt. I may not make the game to South Bend, and we'll look forward to having them. It's always a home and home, so I'm not sure of the year, but I think in a couple of years.
It's 2 years from now. Not next season, but the season after that we will be able to have them host them.
It'd be nice to go and get one and then make them come down here for effort at revenge. But after Notre Dame, we're back in Athens for a couple weeks.
Yes.
So we've got Samford, Southern Conference.
No doubt.
Player out in Birmingham. So we have Samford back. What's your take on that game?
I'm going to go with the W for that one with Georgia. I think they're going to do pretty well against Samford. I think that it'll be a nice game for us to get some, I won't say rest. It's not rest. Or anybody that comes into your house, you need to defend the house.
Well, they are the Bulldogs.
Yes.
So 2 Bulldogs, just one of a different character and color. I think they're more blue.
More blue than
blue, and but they're still they're 1AA or FCS football, but they have put up some numbers. They've had some quarterbacks. They recruit talent in Georgia.
Sure thing.
A lot of talent from Georgia. So, but good quality players. But I think we put them in their place and get ready for our SEC slate schedule.
Right, that comes up. Mississippi State, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Missouri, and Florida. That's
South Carolina and Auburn. That's the gauntlet.
Yeah,
then the gauntlet starts.
It sure does, and it's those are some top teams. You got obviously a few that are not ranked that we'll see early on, but are always going to be a challenge for anybody that you're with the SEC. So you can't take anybody lightly.
Mississippi State is going to challenge you.
Sure.
They're going to challenge you. They're SEC. They have to. They recruit.
They do.
See what's happening with Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Not this year, but there's going to be a beneficiary. But Mississippi State is going to challenge. They're coming here to challenge. So that's going to be a game. Then away at Tennessee. The Vols they're never an easy opponent for Georgia.
However, they have lost their veteran quarterback, so that's the big question for Tennessee this year. Josh Dobbs from Alpharetta, Georgia, moving on to the NFL.
Yeah.
Playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers now, but that means there's an empty space in Tennessee.
With Georgia, we don't get them all. We can't get them all.
No, we can't.
We don't have enough room for all the Georgia boys.
But that's for certain. But I think Georgia's going to. That was a tough one last year. There was a battle right to literally the very end, and that last-second Hail Mary pass thrown by Josh Dobbs was something that Georgia is going to want to come back and punish Tennessee. That's how Georgia. They got. I won't call it embarrassment, but it's just not something that Georgia is happy about.
It doesn't sit well.
No, it doesn't sit well.
Say that.
Okay, that is the best way to say it. So
the other embarrassment is next on the schedule. What happened last year? Remember the Vanderbilt beating of Georgia last year.
All that you do. There was a tough road right there, but I think both of those games are going to be W's for Georgia.
I have to say that it would be upsetting to me as a fan of Georgia. Could we not revenge for those two games?
Absolutely.
Let's call them revenge games, maybe here and now.
That's okay.
And hopefully the players have that. Most of the players from those last year's 2 games are here with us. So
we're back to all the returning players we talked about earlier about in the offense, and the players that are coming back that are at the quarterback and all the skill positions. We are certainly going to need them to step up through this, as you said, gauntlet of the SEC. Taking it straight down from Vandy, go to Missouri. That'll be a tough game. Still think that's a W for Georgia. And then we go to number 17, what is right now ranked number 17, Florida.
And let's say, you've got it at 7-0. That's your slate now? You got us at 7-0, right?
Yeah, I got us at 7-0. I think going into Florida, it's a possibility. And if they are 7-0 going into Florida, that probably means they're in a top 5 ranking, Georgia.
I got us at 7-0. Hopefully we're hitting on all cylinders, or maybe one of those cylinders is not cranking. Hopefully we're injury-free. Hopefully the quarterback, the offensive line, the running, passing game combo is working, and our defense is shutting down the opponent, limiting them to points. And let's say at Game 7, that's when the heavens open, October the 14th.
You betcha.
We finish Missouri, and we head to Jacksonville to play Florida.
That would be the tailgating down in Jacksonville would be as it is always an unbelievable atmosphere. Maybe, hopefully we can. We'll
see if CRM Sports can fit the bill.
We will.
For a Jacksonville road trip.
That would be a great place to be, and I think going in 7-0 would make it an epic moment in Georgia.
And hopefully Florida is. Hopefully, and then by then both teams maybe have moved up into the rankings, and maybe it puts a little meat on this bone. More so, if you look at it, I have not looked at Florida's schedule to see how stiff their first 7 is, but I hope they're at 7-0, maybe 6-0 if they have a bye week. I don't know, but I hope it's a showdown of that magnitude in Jacksonville. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always
decent
battle. It's a decent game, but it's battle. It's a battle outside. It's a battle inside. Whenever you're down there, when the Dogs and the Gators clash.
A lot of folks picking Florida to beat Georgia this year again in the SEC East. No. I mean, this is the gateway game. This is the one that you have to have on your calendar. It's the one everybody waffles about and says, "Oh no," or I say, "Oh yes." So my prediction is we take this game this year. So I think we
8-0.
I think we will have all cylinders running.
Okay.
By the time we get to Jacksonville, we have a good mix of SEC non-conference games. I think we'll be healthy. I'm predicting that Easton is going to be protected in the various passing games that we throw in there, and I think we'll have a great opportunity to beat Florida solidly. Not a Hail Mary, not a last-minute field goal. Solidly, I think we beat Florida.
Hopefully not a last-second kick return or anything like that we've seen over the last couple of years in a few different games for the Bulldogs. So definitely what we would then go, the next matchup would be with South Carolina and
the Gamecocks.
The Gamecocks, yes. Go up to the Columbia Gamecocks, right?
Steve Spurrier there?
Not anymore. Okay. He's gone. Yep. He is gone.
Well, there's another Nick Saban disciple up there, right?
That is for sure.
Yep.
And we can't put all the eggs into that Florida game and then ignore South Carolina. If you do that, they can come back and hurt you. There's no doubt about it. They have the ability. They have the players, the recruits, and now the coach in his also second year, I believe, there in South Carolina. And I think South Carolina could be a tough matchup, especially if we get beat up in Florida or spend all our energy there. But hopefully that'll be a win, and we can still ride that wave going into South Carolina.
My take is I think South Carolina has a couple of years recruiting to do, and post Spurrier, and I know they'll do it. They've got some good staff, a lot of them from Saban staff. They'll recruit. I don't know if they can get there fast enough. I take Georgia by 10 points in this game.
Okay, awesome. Well, you've heard it here. So I would agree that Georgia, after the Florida game, going up against the Gamecocks, can make that happen as well, and just keep the flow going. I guess you're going right down in, because then you're going to talk about another battle with another top-ranked team, at least start of the season top-ranked team in Auburn.
Dangerous. Auburn's dangerous. Auburn's dangerous. And going to Auburn, this is, and I don't like the term trap game because I don't know what that means. Not really. Is it a game you're overlooking? Is it a game where you just ball off the table? I need an explanation on exactly what a trap game is. A close game, one that you may have not expected. That's really what I would call it. Maybe you didn't expect something. Maybe something dynamic happens, and most people, a lot of people look at it and say, well, Georgia's got to have one loss. Okay? Here's where I'm going to come out and say they escaped this one. Avoid the loss. They go on undefeated through Auburn, in Auburn. Come back to Athens. Okay,
you heard Taco comes up with the undefeated right into the last home stretch of the season. So hopefully no one around here. We didn't hear any War Eagle cry-outs, so not here at Buffalo's in Woodstock. So it's all Georgia, a lot of Georgia fans here. So we definitely it's a great possibility of going undefeated. Some people think that Georgia can pull that off this year. It's going to be tough. That is going to be an iffy game if we don't have all our pieces. If we get the injury bug, I think that can be a tough game. But if we're healthy, I agree with you. I think that Georgia can win that and go into the final two games undefeated. Absolutely. Kentucky.
The Wildcats.
The Wildcats, wild card, what do you want to call them? Always, for some reason.
I like the uniform color.
You do like that color?
I really like the color. Okay. But I like it in basketball.
In basketball, not for football.
Probably not so much.
Yes, okay. Well, we'll have that season, the basketball season. That's in a few months, and we'll do that too here on DawgDial. Covering the football season. Taco.
We're talking about colors.
We were just talking about colors. Yeah. Okay. So, is that going to go into a trivia question? We may have to.
We'll bring up colors.
Okay. We'll see how much time we have left for that.
Favorite colors. Okay. Favorite team colors.
Favorite team colors.
Kentucky comes here.
Georgia red.
Either way.
I think so.
I don't care.
There we go. Hey, we got some Georgia fans walking in right now to Buffalo's Cafe. We got a good Dogs Holler Out shout out. He's got himself a Georgia schedule that he's taken with him to
official Georgia watch.
Yes,
he's official logo.
He's got everything. He is ready to go. It's looking good.
We're finishing up, obviously, as always, in Atlanta. At the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets to finish our schedule.
You betcha.
Preview. What do you think? Georgia Tech.
I think
T.O. The dreaded T.O.
You got it. It's everything is great.
High school coach.
Yeah,
he's new school.
He's new. Yeah, new school. Doesn't let the coach go into the option? Just
it's an all spread option.
That's a new thing for him, huh? Not quite.
Open it up.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I think the Dogs roll over them and do fairly well against Georgia Tech at the end of the season to wrap it up.
What do you say? Are you with me?
Is it possible?
What do you? I don't know.
I mean,
any losses in there? I mean, I'm looking at.
I'd like to say no, but there might be one in there. There probably will be a stumbling block in there. I'd like to say right now that they could be undefeated.
And if it is, it's as long as it's not Florida.
Yes,
we're on track to come back to Atlanta. That's really the basics of where we're at. And I don't see anybody in the East having any relevance or any opportunity to squeak by Georgia or Florida.
Right.
No offense, Tennessee, but it's Georgia, Florida. If we take command in that game in Jacksonville,
right,
then even if there is, as you say, a one loss, it can happen.
Yes.
It's any given Saturday, they call it.
That is for certain.
And so if it happens, we can still be in Atlanta for the SEC championship.
I think so. I think that should be where the Georgia Bulldogs end up, in Atlanta for the championship, and we would be extremely excited to be covering that at the end of our season here. So, from Buffalo's Cafe in Woodstock, Georgia, we are going to take a short break on DawgDial and then come back, and then we will have a couple of fun segments, a couple of fun things going on in our next segment, and then we will get right back to it and then have a great wrap-up, a couple of raffles I think we're going to have here.
Absolutely.
So give away a few fun things here at Buffalo's Cafe in Woodstock, Georgia. And we're going to get some wings delivered real soon. So stick around with us. We'll still be on Facebook Live, and we look forward to being with you in just a few moments.
The best thing to do, by the way, is not yell like this. Write it on a note.
Yeah, but yeah.
You can't mark your call, so you might just write it on a note.
All right, so yeah, it's probably just the fact that we have wind interference. I cranked up the volume.
And all right, I think we are back, ready for a break, ready for our next segment here on DawgDial. Welcome back. I'm Josh J. Dawg Mendlinger here with Taco Thompson, and we are here to talk and cover more items about the University of Georgia football season coming up that starts very, very soon.
I got a question for you.
You got a question for us, okay.
Let's assume in our last segment we talked about Georgia sweeping the East.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, we did.
Or you said, well, maybe something
maybe
good could
sweeping, yeah,
happen.
very positive.
If we sweep the East, then we have a showdown in Atlanta. Who do you think will be having a showdown with?
That's a good question. Well,
You got a few options.
There's obviously the heavy favorite, as always.
Who?
Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, all things pretty much go through Alabama. All roads.
They do. And it's time to play catch-up. Somebody over there in the SEC West is trying to play catch-up. Who do you think is doing the best at playing catch-up there in the West? So I mean, it's preseason. We haven't played that down yet.
No, yeah.
Let's talk about it to talk about who the West is. I mean, you got Auburn, you got LSU, you got Ole Miss. You got the cadre from the West. What do you see anything good? You hear anything?
Well, there's LSU is definitely going to be a team to be reckoned with. Always are. It seems to always be bouncing between Alabama and LSU. Over there in the West, and I think
Orgeron is the new coach.
He is.
There's some new blood there.
He had his team under his.
He was an absolute maniac recruiter.
He is. And I think he's had the head coaching position now under his belt for a little bit, couple of years or so. So I think. That between those two, I think to me it's either going to be LSU or Alabama over there.
It ain't going to be Ole Miss. You heard about the coaching issues there.
Yeah, Ole Miss does have some issues going on.
Yeah, but
a little bit.
Let's put Ole Miss at the bottom of that.
Okay, well, let me pencil that in right now. Ole Miss,
Arkansas, Texas A&M, maybe middle of the pack over there.
Yeah, well, Arkansas, they do have a really good team, though. They can put things together. They have some speed, and don't underestimate them. If you are in the West, I would certainly not look past them. I think you definitely need to consider that, but I still think it's going to be going through Alabama and LSU. And then you're
nothing Auburn? No love for Auburn.
I can't like that because
Tigers or War Eagles.
Yeah, it's Tigers.
Tigers.
But ultimately,
I have a problem.
We have a showdown with Auburn coming.
They win with number of mascots. They won that contest. We only have one.
Does that really matters?
We only have one.
Is it really matters the mascots? No, I thought it was when you're on the gridiron, right?
It's between the hedges mainly is where the action
matters.
I just wonder.
I think that I'm going to go with Auburn not being at the top there this year, and I think that we are going to help that.
There's always talent. Auburn gets their players from Georgia and some from Alabama, but let's say that. But LSU, I agree with you. LSU is always loaded with talent. Obviously, the mastermind Saban was there, won a national championship at LSU.
Yes.
The last one, as I recall and remember. So, I agree with you. But at the end of the day, who's coming to Atlanta to play the Dogs?
I'm going to come back. I think Alabama has something to prove.
A rematch.
Yeah. Well, I think Alabama wants to come back and is going to fight their way to get through to they want to get to the championship. And I think Georgia, if they want to get the shot at the national title, they're going to have to come into Atlanta, and they're going to have to face Alabama and show the country that, and if not the world, that they can compete and they can knock off an Alabama caliber team.
There are going to be a lot of players in that game, should that be the case. Alabama versus Georgia. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves. That's what we get to do in preseason. There are going to be a lot of future players, or a lot of players in that game with the ability to drive a future Mercedes-Benz. Guess where the SEC championships played this year?
In the just recently opened Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yes, absolutely.
And
saw it last night.
Yeah, saw it on TV. Caught it.
Fantastic venue.
Okay. And that would be a great place to go. And I think the returning running backs coming back for their senior year, I think they are motivated. I think Sony Michel and Nick Chubb are going to lead the way and show the SEC East is going to be the side of the SEC.
Boy, that's going to be a showdown. You know, the backfield at Alabama is no slouch either.
No, never is.
Be a slugfest.
That would be absolutely. That would be quite a hot ticket to be. And I think
Stormover at Alabama.
Yes.
Jalen Hurd. I mean, they're loaded too.
Right. They may just have to take the copy of that game when it comes down to that and just walk it right over to that College Football Hall of Fame, because it could be a showdown for all time if it gets to that point and both teams have all their healthy skilled players and their lines ready to go. I think it would be a battle to be remembered.
I'm excited.
I agree.
We'll segue into the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. No longer the Dome.
No, it is not.
The Dome is gone. Pay homage to the Dome.
It's still there, but not for long, from what I understand.
But the SEC world, at least SEC and ACC now goes through Mercedes-Benz Stadium, so a little plug for Mercedes.
There you go. Well, let's give a little plug to our gracious host here. How about that? Buffalo's Cafe in Woodstock, Georgia. We have some friends out there. Hey, how you doing over there? You going to wave back to him? We got a little small fry. There we go. Can we see a little go Dogs? You going to give me a little cheer over there? We have one of our families here enjoying some wings and some other tasty foods here at Buffalo's Cafe in Woodstock, Georgia. And we'll be right back. Actually, we're going to take a quick little break and then come back with our wrap-up of our first DawgDial show of the season. So stay put. We'll be right back. All right, Facebook Live fans, we're still here on Facebook Live, and we want to give a shout-out to our servers that have been here at Buffalo's Cafe, bringing us the beverages and food all afternoon. So what flavor did we get out of you? Is your favorite flavor of the wings there?
You know, as bland as it may sound, the medium, but I talked to one of the fine waitresses, Brianna, here.
Okay.
And I was asking her, okay, if I really wanted to get out of my comfort zone, what would I, where would I go? What would I do? And she recommended the Carolina Fire Barbecue.
Carolina, sounds good.
In Georgia, but I said, okay, well, we're talking about food here, and maybe I'm going to try the Carolina. She says it's not too hot. I mean, I don't want to eat something that's going to burn my mouth for an hour and make me sweat. Yeah, I sweat enough as it is. So, but she said the Carolina Fire, so I'm going to try it.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'm going to eat some of those good old tater skins, too.
I'll tell you what, we got to get an order in and get going with that. So
Jamie over here.
We will do that.
Jamie, get us in.
We'll have to talk to our server, Jamie, and get him to set us up with another order of wings for after the show, and we'll come right back. So we'll be right here on Facebook Live, coming to you on Sunday afternoons. about 4:30, 5 o'clock from Buffalo Cafe in Woodstock, Georgia. And let's get to our final wrap-up, okay? All right, welcome back to DawgDial. This is J-Dawg and Taco. My partner Taco here, talking all things Georgia football and the season coming up, just a week away or so, just under a week away. Many people are excited for this Georgia Bulldogs season.
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I can't wait.
Okay, let's strap on the shoulder pads and go.
Well, there was some college football on this weekend.
There was.
I had to watch it.
You did?
It's
Did you catch some good football, or was it just...
it's college football.
It's college.
And it's on TV. You know, I wasn't going to travel to BYU. I think was on Oregon State.
Right.
I mean, some good... You know, it's college football. It's in the blood. And here in Georgia, it's obviously a table talk, a restaurant talk, buddy talk, cooler talk. Wherever you are in Georgia, you're going to be talking a lot of football, and we've got a lot of Bulldog fans. So, you know, on review, looking at kind of what we're talking about, what's new, you know, players, game review, it's all good fodder. Let's go beat App State.
Yeah.
That's the marching order coming out of here.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. We have to come out. We have to make that statement. The Bulldogs need to make that statement and say, hey, we're coming out. We are going to be what people think we are. We are who we are, right?
Let's get our quarterback settled in there. He's a great talent. He's a great kid. He's got a great backfield. Let's surround him with the offensive line, the receiving core. Georgia's always had great talent. Someone will emerge, one if not two. We've got a stable of receivers. So I'm gonna say that our offense is gonna come out and get settled in, settle down, and hey, this may be the talk that the Bulldog defense this year, to come back to our defense, you can't win a football game when the other team scores more points than you do. And I'm thinking that it's not talked about much, but let's just say that I think the Georgia defense is going to be maybe not in the highlights, but I think not only will they put us in position to win a few games, I think they will put the offense in a great position to be more potent.
Okay. It sounds great. They will have to go through the first few weeks battling with it. He is out with a broken foot for 4 weeks. Hopefully he can heal up quickly and do the right thing, stay off that foot, and be back as soon as possible. Definitely need him. He is an outstanding defensive back, and the Bulldogs will need him.
Two deeps are always going to have to step it up in the game.
Yes.
That's a big part of the sport.
You got to be ready.
This is not touch football, so beefing up the two deep, I mean, that's what Coach Smart is, I'm sure, has been working diligently on. That's what they have been able to do in Tuscaloosa. That is the gold standard. Let's just call it what it is. And so I think Coach Smart recognized that. But, yeah, we have to stay injury-free. You know, we have to keep players on the field. We have to keep it moving forward. But that next guy has got to be ready to come in there if that happens.
Absolutely. And we not only this year, you talk about next guys, how about that recruiting season that is just, I guess you could say, is going on or is wrapping up. It's not even over yet. And the Georgia Bulldogs, looking for the next year, have had an outstanding recruiting class for the 2018 graduating seniors.
What helps recruiting?
Wedding.
Facilities, NFL prospects, good coaching, player development, and winning. Let's win.
Right.
That helps.
That does help. I no doubt.
Stay in the conversation. It puts you on the news. Every kid looking at Georgia right now, and a prospect, or any other school for that matter, is looking at the current status of how their team's going to do.
Absolutely. And they Georgia's recruiting well. They have some top draft picks from receivers,
really want to get into that a little bit
next week. Next week, absolutely. Once that gets a little more confirmed and everybody signs on the line. But of course, we know that can be subject to change at times. So we are glad to hear that a few more recruits, I should say, are picking Georgia because of their success and the outlook they have going forward with Kirby Smart.
Are they not picking us because of the team colors?
No, I don't think it's not about the favorite color. Could be the mascot because it is the top mascot. Can't argument is that Uga is the top mascot of all college mascots, right?
I think the other things matter.
Yes.
That we were talking about.
I think it is. It's about the game, how you get out there and on the gridiron. Absolutely. So we are going to cover some recruits next week. When we come back, we'll have some guests on the line, on the phone, possibly, and here with us at Buffalo. So we hope to have a few people here with us, and we look forward to chatting about week 1.
And the Georgia Bulldogs.
So stay with us. Come on back to DawgDial next week, and we look forward to a great 2017 season for the University of Georgia Bulldogs. And with that, we have to say, Red, go Dogs.
Go Dogs. See us next week on DawgDial. Take care, everybody.
See ya.